press the button. Hello. Hopefully everybody can see. Hi there. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes, just not even a couple of minutes, I mean a few seconds, just to ensure over on the live feed that everything's coming through. Hi there, Chris. Hi there, Leo. Nice to have you with us, as always. But it's not just me. Each week I'm joined very kindly by some people in our community who give up their time in order that they can impart some expertise to you, you WordPressers out there. And we've got a nice panel today. We've not had David McCan on before, but there's David McCan over there. David, at the beginning, I don't know if you've watched this before, but we always give everybody a little bit of a chance to introduce themselves and say who they are. So I'll hand it over to you and say, introduce yourself.
Well, I've been in IT for a long time, and as a manager and a programmer, and gotten into WordPress some time ago, and just enjoying myself and the WordPress community, making sites and writing tutorials and whatnot.
Very calming presence in our group. I think you've always got a very level-headed, very measured approach when you write things. So I appreciate I appreciate you coming on and being part of our community. It's very nice indeed. Thank you. And down here is Andre Gagnon. He's been on several times in the past. He's over on the other side of the Atlantic. So as is David, I might add. They've both gotten up at some stupid o'clock time of day. Andre, tell us who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, from the Midwest in the good old United States of America. I built a WordPress plugin called Project Huddle. It's sort of a seamless feedback solution for you and your clients. Simplest way to describe it is it's like digital sticky notes that only you and your clients can see.
Very cool. Thank you. Again, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. And then just over there, we have Vito Peleg. Now, Vito is usually, if he joins us, he's in London, but he's not in London today. He was in Israel the other day. Where are you now, Vito?
I'm on tour. I'm actually in Greece. You can see the ocean right behind.
Just there. Will you stop it?
The family went on a boat, and I'm speaking to you guys.
Oh no! Oh dear, I am so sorry. Oh dear, Vito.
We've been away for like 28 hours now. We took the flight from London just overnight.
Okay.
So it's actually not a good setup for being on a boat. After not.
Well, great.
I'm enjoying this.
Tell us about your experience of WordPress. What's your position in the WordPress community?
So I actually started as it started when I was literally on tour with the band that I had at the time, and I started building websites from the back of the van while we were touring. After the band broke up, I started growing the business from a freelancer to an agency. Grew really fast, and through this process, we discovered a lot of problems with client communications that a lot of us are experiencing. Pretty much the same thing as Andre there discovered at some point, and we decided to take it on and build a communication tool for WordPress professionals, which I believe that together we can make this the new way of how WordPress professionals talk to clients in a more efficient way, and not in a manual way like most people do now with spreadsheets and Google Docs and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, Vito's already said that his power on his laptop is sort of slowly draining before his very eyes, even though he's got it plugged in. So it may be that Vito is here for some period of time. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll give it a go. Let's make an actual start. What I'm going to say to begin with is that we are wpbuilds.com. We do this thing every Monday. I release a 20-minute, 30-minute introduction to like the news from last week, put it out in an audio form, and you can find that by going to this archive section and news archive. And if you go over there, it's always going to be the latest one, basically. So if you click on that, you'll get to like an archive page. And the one that you need is always going to be the top left, which is this one, number 82. And that's what we're looking at today. So we always divide up the news into like little bite-sized chunks. And this is it. The first one is WordPress core. I've asked the guys to kind of nominate themselves for any stories that they they want to take on. And if I miss them out for some reason, I'm hoping that they're going to just interrupt me and tell me why I should be listening to them. But the first one is all about WordPress 5.3 Beta 1. 2 articles linked there. I had the WordPress.org version of events, and then also there was a slightly more extended write-up by Sarah Gooding over on WP Tavern. But basically, it's talking about the fact that we've got a few... It's kind of like minor stuff, really. This doesn't feel like a monumental update. You can see here on my screen, it says the block editor has got some feature improvements. There's just a few of them. It's things like group block and grouping interactions, column block improvements. It's basically just improving the way that you interact with the block editor. But then if we keep on going, I think this is where the meat and the potatoes of this release is. We'll come to this later. We've got this new 2020 theme coming down the pipe. Anders Norén is building it based upon his Chaplin theme, and there's going to be some admin interface enhancements as well. But what I would say is go and check out this update if that's important to you, but we're going to come to that in a moment, because the next article I want to mention I think is being taken on by David. Am I right, David? We're going to go through this admin email verification screen, if that's all right with you. Do you want to take the lead on this one?
Sure. So the idea is in 5.3, every 6 months there'll be an admin notice, and you'll have the option to update the admin email if it's wrong, or click that it's correct. And there are lots of good reasons why having a correct admin email makes a lot of sense for security issues, for updates. They introduced that fatal error message and whatnot in a recent release, and so if there's no admin email, that doesn't help. And so there are a lot of good things. There's a little worry that people who maintain a lot of sites for other people may have to go in twice a year and click yes, it's correct or something for a couple hundred sites, and so there's a little pushback on that. I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like quite a good idea. The way it was presented was we're trying to just reduce that possibility that there'll be a whole bunch of, millions and millions of sites where the admin has just dropped off the face of the earth. And this is just some sort of way of saying, hello, we're still here. You've got a website. Take care of it, please. Are you still in charge of this website? Lots of people have their websites built. The developer goes missing. They don't know how to access with the admin interface, but the privileges that they've got are enough for them to create content, and it still works. So yeah, it seems like a good idea. I'm wondering, David, if maybe this will be the sort of thing which plugins like Manage WP or Main WP will build an integration with to remove that exact problem. The admin notification email goes out, and in some way you can be identified in your Manage WP dashboard and click a button and just make all that disappear. I don't know, but
wonderful idea.
We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait and see. But nice little iteration. There's not a lot to it, but that's what it is. So what have we got next? Let's just have a look on my little show notes here. Right, the next one is all about this new theme. I have to say, I actually really rather like the look of this. We mentioned it just a moment ago. It's the article that I'm linking to is over on WP Tavern. We've talked about this a few times in the last few weeks. I do like this article. There's a whole bunch of reasons actually I like this article, and I'll get to one of them in a moment. But basically, it's now being bundled in core. That, if you can see my screen, is what it looks like. It's got some... I really like the typography. I like the colours. I like the iconography. I just like all of it. Justin Tadlock, who is now a full-time writer for WP Tavern, which is just great, has written all about this. He's talked about the customizer options, and you can see all of that. The custom page templates and so on and so forth. And then this is where I really like Justin's contribution to WP Tavern. He gets into the nitty gritty. He gets into the weeds of the developer stuff. So he starts talking about things like page loading speed and so on and so forth. And since he's joined WP Tavern, he's done that a few times. We might come across something like that a little bit later. But that is the new default theme. I like it. I haven't played with it. I don't know what it will be useful for. I don't know whether there'll be a particular area where it shines. But I'm going to hand it over to anybody who wants to chip in.
Yeah, I really like the font.
Yeah.
It's actually the same font we're using for our brand.
Oh,
that we've
nice.
been
What's
using
it
for
called?
almost
Is
a
it
year
called
now.
something like, like it was one word, isn't it?
It's called Inter UI.
No,
or
it's not
Inter
what I was
font.
thinking. Okay.
It's really nice because it's one of those variable fonts, so it's a lot lighter. You can load sort of one font file, and then any browser that supports variable fonts will automatically do bold, light, all the different weights and stuff too. So I think that's how they were able to keep it like that CSS file nice and small.
Yeah.
And the loading's pretty fast.
Yeah. That was one of the things that Justin said, wasn't it? Was that it does load fast. He's come up with some, as you would expect, he's come up with ways of, I think probably in the future reducing that a little bit. He's basically saying that, it's better than it has been in the past. I think it's down to 40 kilobytes of CSS as opposed to 2019, which had nearly 230, 220, something like that. So it's quite a difference. This is a question though. Does anybody actually use these themes? Or is it simply like an exercise in, look, here's the technology as it is at the moment. Here's what's possible. Or I just don't know. I mean, I've never deployed a WordPress default theme for anything whatsoever, but it is nice to see what's possible. But I'm not sure I understand, apart from demonstrating what's possible, what the point is. Anybody?
Well, for me, this theme is usually like the default one that you go to after you need to disable the main theme.
Yeah.
That's the main use case. But I can see it being used for not so much for us pros, but for people that just want to splash something on. You start with the default thing and you just carry on from there. I think that it might even happen for people that are not aware of the fact that you can change themes or anything like that. So you start off with something default that gives you the ability to get things going. And other than that, even with the survey, if you remember, Nathan, that we did, it was very, very clear that no one is using these kind of themes. Pretty much every professional has their own one of 10 themes that we all know about that they choose to use. And then all of these default themes stay as the default theme.
Yes. It's just there for the moment when something calamitous happens to the theme that you're actually using, and you need to sort of just, okay, back out, let's see what's going wrong. Yeah, it's interesting. However, that being said, I do like it. I really do genuinely like it. I could see me handing this over to a client and sort of saying, look, this is what's possible with your nice shiny new page builder. In this case, the block editor. Look at the kind of things that you can do. It looks very modern, very nice, and Anyway, there we go. So that's.
I think that this year is the first time that it's actually usable to some degree.
Yeah.
When you look at it straight, out of the box, there are some things that you can do with it. But I still think that when a professional has the go-to theme, as I like to call it, that's. This is not going to change the world, and they're just going to completely change their workflow based on this new theme. Yeah.
I would really struggle to be somebody like Justin.
Than anything else that happened.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like with 2012, a lot of people would fork that or make a child theme or use it as a starter theme because it was flexible enough and kind of attractive. And we've moved into some kind of very opinionated themes that, I don't find quite as attractive. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it'll be nice.
Yeah. I'm putting on the screen now the actual article that Justin had to write, and obviously I think it's quite difficult trying to describe a theme in words. He says that the headings, here he is, the headings are bold and opinionated. It's pull quotes, grab attention. It's unafraid of making a splash with its design. I really do like what Justin's doing over at the Tavern. I'm so pleased that he's there. This is going to be assuming that he stays around, which I certainly hope he does. I think this is going to be a really nice time for us, especially you coders. You're going to get a real nice detailed explanation of lots of things, I think, in the future, and getting right into the nitty gritty of it. Okay, let's move on, if we may.
Huge fan of Tavern, aren't you?
I do. Oh, the Tavern is the business. I think, I really, really am. My focus on this thing is not really anything other than WordPress. And I think if you want the news about WordPress, you go to the tavern first and then you sort of go elsewhere. That's my opinion on it. I know that there's lots and lots of great places elsewhere, but they've got the inside track really in a way, haven't they? They've got funding from Automatic and so on. So yeah, I do genuinely like it. Okay, so where did we get to? Now we're going to talk about this theme review team. I don't know if anybody's been following this story, but again, Justin Tadlock picks this one up over on the Tavern. What he's saying is that the theme review team it's basically been restructured. I'll try and paraphrase this as quickly as I can. In the past, or until now, the theme review team has been more of a pyramid type of structure in that, there are people, you have to work your way up and through a series of actions and by meritorious demonstrations of, giving up time and doing jobs, you work your way up to the top. Well, they've decided that that's probably not the approach they want going forward. So instead of having 2 team leads, which rotated every 6 months, which apparently they didn't. Sometimes people stayed on a bit longer and so on. What they're going to do is they're going to split it off into 5 different sub-teams. There's going to be the theme review representatives, and you can see them here. Theme packages, automation, theme handbook, and communications representatives. And I think the whole point of this is to try to speed things up so that we don't have a couple of people who are in charge of everything. Maybe that caused bottlenecks. I don't really know. I was never involved in any of that. But it's going to be spreading that work out and hopefully making things go quicker, because at the moment, I think for the longest time, there's been a very large backlog of themes which need to be reviewed and assessed as to whether they go into the repo. And so hopefully this will speed things up a little bit. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything to that. It's not the most shattering of stories, but...
Yeah, I think that's got to be one of the hardest jobs, is reviewing other people's code. I don't know if any developers ever opened up anyone else's code and tried to look at it. It takes kind of a bit to see what's going on, and you have to be on the lookout for security vulnerabilities and coding practices and stuff. I think it's got to be exhausting to do that day in and day out. It seems like a really difficult job for me, at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's in a sense as well, it's a bit of a thankless task in that, I think a lot of this stuff goes on very much in the background, but it requires a lot of man hours. And I know that in the future there's been a lot of work. Well, there is a lot of work being done to kind of automate the packages and so on that you can use. So maybe in the future this whole process will be somewhat automated, and you'll be able to just check, have they used the official package for this thing and the official package for that thing, and if that's the case, then we can probably just give that a rubber stamp. Anyway, there you go. So let's move on, if nobody else wants to add anything to that. We're on to the little community section now. This is one of my favourite bits because we get to talk about everybody, including the people on the phone at the minute. WordPress community contributors host free online diversity workshop ahead of WordCamp US. Here we go, WP Tavern once again. There's not a lot to say really about this. There's going to be exactly this. I think Jill Binder is leading this initiative, if I remember rightly. I can remember seeing her name in this article. What she's saying is that in the past, even if so diversity, male, female in this case, in the past people have been unwilling to speak at events because really there hasn't been kind of enough effort made to make it diverse enough, I suppose. And so this initiative is going to try to tackle that problem. Go and read this article if you're interested in that. I think the direction of travel very much feels like this is becoming a hot button topic. So hopefully in the the months and years to come, this will improve.
It looks like the other one's open.
Oh, Andre, you still there? You're right, Andre.
Yeah, someone was trying to kick me out of this room for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I get that all the time. They're called my children. Anyway, so there we go. Go and check that out if diversity interests you. I'm not sure. I have tried quite hard. You'll notice that the panel on this show is always dominated by males. And this was pointed out to me quite a while ago, and I've reached out to quite a lot of females, and we will have representatives from the female side of things in the weeks to come. But please, if you do want to come on this, then and you've got a voice and you want to have your opinions heard, please reach out to me. I will gladly have you on. But there we go. That was that one. Anybody want to take? What have we got next? No. Oh, you've got to watch this video, right? Okay. This is a guy called Jack Lennox. Okay, he is a VIP contributor. So he works for Automatic as a VIP contributor. In other words, he really does very much understand how WordPress works. And he did a talk, which I was unable to see actually, although being there, I didn't see it, about the environmental impact of your website. Now, this just doesn't even occur to me. This just isn't even on my radar. I think about a car. I get in a car and it produces pollution. I get that. I get on an aeroplane, it produces pollution. I just never made the connection really until I saw Jack Lennox doing what he has been doing. Every time you obviously request a web page, there is resources, there are computers, there is electricity required, and the more resources your computer is requiring to load a page, the more you pollute. It's as simple as that. So he's taken the mission to produce as light a weight theme as possible, and to try and basically just educate people in this whole thing. And you've got lovely long video here, 45 minutes, where he goes into all of the things. And I have to say, I would say 50 to 60% of it was utterly new to me. It never occurred to me that this kind of thing would have an impact on the environment. So I would urge you to go and watch this if you've got a spare 45 minutes. It's somewhat ironic that I'm urging you to go and consume a video online which is educating you not to put videos online, but there you go. I suppose there is something about that. Did any of that ever occur to you? Do you sit there with your environmental tin foil hat on when you're clicking around on the internet watching YouTube videos? Do you think this is having an impact, or do you just not like me?
Not to that same degree, but I remember that while we were at WordCamp Europe, a bunch of people talked to me about this talk. Yeah. So Nathan, you and I were doing the hallway track, so we wasn't really able to jump into all of these kind of different talks. But I tried to ask people what they were influenced by, and this talk came about pretty often, and it got me thinking about just using resources as a whole. Especially when we're even keeping the computer on and stuff like that. That over the past few years became really standard for the way that we run our businesses, or the way that we kind of interact with the online world. Just thinking about this a little more, and especially with the development in the last couple of weeks, with the conference that's been happening and so on, that's been just emphasized even more. Yeah. So it is good to think about this. I don't think we're going to stop watching videos. People are watching us abusing resources all over the world as we speak.
The irony is not lost upon me. It is ironic, but it is. But what was just amazing to me is just the levels that he has gone to. The things that he's done. He started with his theme. He started with underscores, which is pretty lightweight anyway, and he stripped absolutely everything out, and he got the payload of his, I think it's called Sosti or something like that. I can't remember this thing. He's got it down to 6K. 6K. And there are very few, it doesn't try to go out and find a bunch of other resources. There's no video. It's just basic. Where CSS can be used instead of JavaScript, he uses CSS. It's not polling for resources here, there, and everywhere. Anyway, it's just really interesting. And obviously, in this current climate, the environment seems to have really taken a front seat in the last couple of months. And so this is just well worth a watch, I would say. I don't know if anybody else, either David or Andre, want to contribute to that. If not, I'll move on. Oh, okay. I'll move on. Andre, you all right? I know it looks like you have actually been booted out of that room. Are you all right?
Yeah, I just thought it would be nice and leave just in case.
Yeah, that's okay. We can still
we can still
see you.
slither away.
Yeah, that's good. We can still see you. You're all good. Okay, so the next couple of things, let's have a look what have we got. So we're still in the community section. We've just done this video. So we've got this thing called Hacktoberfest. I confess, I know nothing about this other than that it just cropped up, so I thought I'd mention it. It says Hacktoberfest started back up again. It's the 6th year, sponsored by DigitalOcean. And I think the idea is that you basically go and try and find an open source problem which hasn't been fixed, or something in the open source arena which needs looking at. So it doesn't have to, this thing isn't to do with WordPress necessarily. It could be anything. So it really could be anything. It looks like there's about, according to this article, there's 120 issues that that WordPress have. I don't know how they've been put forward. I don't know how this works, but there's 120 specific WordPress issues. But you can go and join this if you want. Somewhere on here, no doubt. There we go. Can't remember. There's a link somewhere for you to get involved if that's your thing. This next one is interesting. It's on the Yoast blog, I'm going to say, but it's on the Yoast.com website. And I'm not showing this because of the subject matter. We were just talking about diversity and what have you. And this is a very long article which talks about diversity and inequality, but actually I'm looking at this for a very different reason, because when this came through to me, it was promoted as we tried really hard to demonstrate what could be done with the block editor. So I was looking around and I actually found myself looking at this webpage thinking, boy, that's actually really nice. There's just lots of work been done on this. I like the iconography. You look at these. This is great. It's just these little animated GIFs, I presume they are, all over the place. And so, if I was building a client website and I presented them with this, and, traditionally I would use a page builder at the moment, but I'm very happy if I'd have managed to produce this in the block editor. I don't know if anybody thought this was a nice example, but yeah, there we go. Nice piece of work. Let's move on.
Yoast is doing his marketing role, even though he left.
Yeah,
He's
that's
still
right.
helping out.
Yeah. It's really nice though. It's just a really, really good-looking website. I mean, really good. I just think it's lovely. It's Marika all over the place. But they spent a lot of time on this project. So don't just go and look at it for what it looks like. Go and look at it for the subject matter as well. But that was not the reason that I mentioned it. And go on.
I think it's really great to see, when you see posts put together with a block editor, it's so much easier to read because things can be sectioned out and you have visual interest.
Yep.
Whereas if you look back on the default editor, there wasn't much you could do. It was sort of more long text and things like that.
Yeah. So the way that the page is broken up into sections, each with a clear heading, and each with a clear, it's all in great big solid colourful rows. It just breaks it. It feels like more of a magazine, and it just shows. I think that just shows what it's about, really. What the block editor is about: long form content, but with a bit of internet wizardry thrown in. Next one is all about Gatsby, and I think both David and Andre would like to offer their opinions on this. I'll just say that it's on the TechCrunch website I found about this, and the title is Gatsby raises $15 million Series A for its modern web development platform. Maybe Andre or David, if you want to chip in, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, Gatsby's really cool because it lets you use sort of any content management system on the back end. It creates this service rendered static outputs. You can have super fast sites, super performance sites, and use sort of whatever CMS you want. So I've played around with it quite a bit, and it's really neat the stuff you can do. The problem I always had was with clients is it became, since it's a headless CMS, so there's not an easy way to preview what you're going to see, especially with some other CMSs where you're just filling in boxes and text fields. Where I think Gutenberg really shines in this scenario is you can kind of see what you're going to get before you hit the publish button just because of how the editor works. So I really like the idea of WordPress as a backend, like an API, and then using Gatsby to make it super fast and performant and eliminate all the security concerns you might have. You kind of get the best of both worlds, I think.
Yeah.
It's super exciting for me, at least.
David, anything you want to add?
No, he's Andre got it all.
You got it all. I don't really understand the technicalities of it. Obviously, in brief, I understand that it kind of is, like you said, headless, and it can kind of suck up all of the content from whatever content management system you're using. And then, excuse my ignorance, maybe Andre, you can inform me and school me about it. Does it then kind of in some way store that as a sort of flat structure so that you don't have to then keep going backwards and forwards to and from the database?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
so it renders everything on the server as just HTML.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's an awful lot of projects in this sphere, isn't there? We've got things like GetShifter and HardyPress and WP2 Static. But obviously, £15 million, or sorry, should I say $15 million, is an awful lot of money. So there's clearly people out there who've decided that this, is something that's well worth investing in. So yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. So there we go, Gatsby. Thank you, Andre. That was good. Good to have somebody that's maybe used it. So we're on to plugins and themes now. Plugins and themes.
I'll remind you, Nathan, about what the community part.
Yeah, thank you, Vito. Do you want to talk about this, Vito, as it's your baby, if you like?
Yeah, sure. So last year I started volunteering with an organization called 48 and 48, which is an amazing nonprofit. And what they do is they have events sorted out all over the world in major cities, and they go for a weekend and build 48 charity websites in 48 hours. So it's like a massive WordPress-related hackathon kind of thing, with the purpose of just helping nonprofits that are too small to have a budget to build a proper website, or got stuck with a really old website, or got stuck with a developer that disappeared at some point, which we all know unfortunately sometimes happens. And it's a really interesting process, and they're coming to London right after WordCamp US. So that's going to be the 8th, I think.
Yeah, it says the 8th to the 10th of November, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, yeah, you on the website?
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. So last year, with my team, we built 8 websites in 2 days, in 48 hours. Set some kind of a record around this. So this year we're heading the support desk, the WordPress support desk with my team, and we're looking for volunteers. It's just a really interesting kind of collaboration. Last year it was at the IBM. I think this year as well, it was the IBM headquarters. So it's a great way to just get to know other people, not only developers, but content writers and project managers and graphic designers and everyone that can contribute, UX designers, everyone that can contribute into a project. But we're building it with WordPress, and it's just an awesome experience. And the way I see it, it is noble to invest your time into charities, even if you're just going out and sorting clothes at a local charity shop or something like that. But we have something much more valuable that we built over the years with our skill building websites, and opening this up to the nonprofit sector for just 2 days out of the year, and building websites that otherwise would have cost them thousands of pounds to create. I think it's a beautiful kind of opportunity. So please come and join me. Go on that website that Nathan pulled up, 48 and 48, and there's a link there that's called volunteers.
Yes, that's right.
And we need as many people as possible. There are loads of charities that are just waiting for the opportunity to have a proper website. They're really grateful about this. Maybe I can tell just a quick story of one of the charities that we did last year, so just can kind of give this a bit of human kind of feel to it. So there was this really cool kid. He was 16 years old, and he found that he was privileged, from a nice neighborhood and so, and he had a lot of kind of sports gear that was just laying around. So he wanted to help, and he wanted to give this back to the community. So we set up a registered charity. He did the whole work, got like a proper charity around this to make sure that people, that he donated his own sports gear, but also all of his friends from school, and then it became all of his friends from from town, then all of the friends from the district, and then hopefully it will become a worldwide kind of charity that just takes old sports equipment and give them to kids that are less privileged. Obviously, a 16-year-old can't build a proper website for himself to gather the equipment, so we built like a form system to help him systemize the whole thing and designed it properly for him, gave him a nice logo around this. After that, because he had a pretty decent online presence, he was approached by literally Shaquille O'Neal over the year. And now Shaquille O'Neal is supporting the charity. And he reached out to us and just told us that he thinks that it's allowed because of that, because he sent him to the website where he could, Shaq could experience the impact that they were doing. And he's sure that it couldn't have happened without those 2 days that we just did something that seemed pretty small to us, but created a massive ripple effect later on. Yeah. So it's a really, really powerful thing to do, and just giving our own skills to something that is bigger than us.
Yeah, just to emphasize on the website itself, it's not just people with skills building websites, although clearly that's a major part of it. They're also looking, one of the two options is you can help as part of a team running the event, so you might want to be involved in actually running the event because that's required as well. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And I'm sorry that
anyone that wants to volunteer, there's loads of stuff to do all around. Last year we were close to 100 people there at the IBM headquarters, so there's loads of things that we need help with. So yeah, just sign up over there, and the guys will get in touch with you and come join me.
Okay.
November.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Early November. Go and check it out. 48 in 48. If you Google that, that's all I did, and I managed to find the website fairly easy. Okay, let's get on to the sort of plugins section of today's little news roundup. You can see we've got a few. We've got first of all, we're going to head over to this one. This is on WP Tavern again. It's a plugin. I just like this. There's really no reason to include this. It's not especially news, but I like it. This is a new plugin which you can add to wherever you like. You can use a shortcode, or you can just say stick it at the end of my content, at the end of my blog posts and so on. And it's just one of these little smiley. It's called WP Helpful, and essentially at the end of reading an article, you say how helpful was this page, and I can just imagine this. I'm probably going to start using this because I just want to know whether people find my stuff helpful or not. And I know that there's an awful lot of people with solutions like this. You've got these survey tools that go out, but actually embedding it on the end of your post seems like a good idea. And getting to the heart of what Justin Tadlock brings to the tavern. Here we go. Look, he talks about what the plugin gets right. And then he goes on to what he would add if he was building this with pro features. And then here we go. This is it. He talks about the code, and he talks about where he thinks things could be improved. And I've not really seen this on WP Tavern before, so I think this is where Justin is going to be, making himself very useful in the near future. If nobody's got anything, I will move on. But feel free to talk about WP Helpful if you would like.
I've always liked these plugins that did one thing really, really well, like small thing, rather than try and be like everything to everybody.
Yeah,
that's why I really like these kinds of things, because it's very clear what it does, very useful in its own sense.
Yeah, and who wouldn't understand what the purpose of that was? You see that at the end of the content, and how helpful was it? Well, it was really helpful. In my case, I'm putting content out about WordPress that maybe that's a stretch, but if you had, I don't know, some kind of blog that was to do with medicine, if you were a doctor or something, that could genuinely have enormous value. You would get feedback, go and edit the content, because all of a sudden you were deluged with, no, that wasn't helpful at all. It's good to know. It's good to know whether your stuff is helpful or whether it's not helpful. So that was nice. The other one that I'm going to mention is, I don't know if anybody's caught sight of this. This is a plugin called Raffle Press, which has recently come around. It's by the guys, I think it's by WP Beginner, who do things like WP Forms. And they've got this plugin which they are iterating at a really rapid rate. And it's for doing these like viral giveaways. So you've seen this before. We have done things like this before on WP Build. So let's say that you've got Vito's got a child. You've got things like I've got a motorbike to give away, or I've got 10 plugins to give away. This plugin does that, and they're iterating it at a phenomenal pace. In fact, I've used it I've got 3 licenses, so if anybody's interested in it, you can actually use RafflePress. There it is. You can use RafflePress to win RafflePress, which is a bit weird. But this is it. I just think it's fabulous. So you can like submit your entry by submitting an image. I just think this is genius. So I've asked everybody here, if you want to win, you've got to, fill out your email and whatnot. And then I've asked you to submit some sort of stupid image, which will get you an entry. You can give me a testimonial, you can tweet a message and so on. You get the idea. There's a whole bunch of ways. And the more of these things that you do, the more chance that you have of winning. Anyway, they've recently added polls and surveys, so you can add a poll or a survey as one of the things people have got to do. So if you want to go and win RafflePress, go and enter the RafflePress contest. You go to giveaways up here, and it's the one at the top. Like that a lot. I think that's a really cool idea. So yeah, wpbuilds.com/win. I should probably show you it on the screen, shouldn't I? There you go. That's what it looks like. That's RafflePress, like that. Look at that, great, love it. Embedded on WP Builds. Okay, let's move on. What else have we got? What other things have we got? When are these guys going to take a breath? This is Elementor. Elementor seem to be on an incredible journey at the moment. I think they went from 2 million to 3 million installs very recently. And I don't know who's got themselves down for this one. It looks like David. If you've got something you want to add about this new Pro Gallery feature in Elementor, feel free.
It's a really nice gallery. It's, you've got lots of options for layouts and lots of styling options. And so for people who are Elementor Pro users, it's a nice add-on. But one thing that caught my attention is that page builders often get a lot of grief for adding bloat. And the Elementor team really went the extra distance, and they made it very performant, and they even separated the code out and made a jQuery plugin that they put on GitHub for it, so it's available for other people to use. Huh. So I thought that was a nice, nice extra steps on the part of the Elementor team.
Yeah. One of the things which I think Elementor gets so very right is their marketing. I mean, obviously, without the product itself being good, it wouldn't work. But they've got a good product and they've got this incredible marketing. I believe Ben Pine certainly features in all the videos, and they're just great. They're like watching television commercials. They're produced with. Clearly, there's a budget going in there. They produce these videos. They're well thought through. They explain the features. They're engaging. You want to watch them. And at the end of it, you come out after a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is, feeling, oh, yeah, I get that. I totally understand what that feature's for. And this looks brilliant. Literally, just click on that button. You'll get the idea. You've got masonry. You've got filtering. You've got sorting. You've got padding. And also things like, if memory serves, you've got things like you can add gradients and things like that to make it look really, really different. You can really make them stand out. So, as always, it's hardly a week goes by.
To continue on your point, Nathan, about the way that they kind of market the whole thing that they're doing, I think we talked about this before, but this is definitely worth mentioning again, because I think that they kind of creating a bit of a revolution, not only with the way that the tool works, but with the way that they actually run the business within our ecosystem. And I take a lot of inspiration from the way they're doing this. It's really inspiring to see what they've built in a short amount of time, and the approach that is not just about let's put it out there and see how it goes, rather than it seems like they're looking not at other tools within the ecosystem, but they're looking outside at how big SaaS companies are doing this and how proper, companies with proper budgets are running a digital product. And I wish that more people would have done this. I think that this could have elevated our entire ecosystem and the community and the value that we give to our users as product creators.
Yeah, amazing. Just really, really great. And just another nice feature. I will quickly move on because we are fast running out of time. There's a lot more to say. So I'll very, very briefly mention these things. Human Made have released this tool, this plugin, checklist plugin. Now, apparently it's a bit useless as it stands in that they've released it, but you must tinker quite a lot with the code. But the point is, if you wish to have a plugin, you've got a framework to work on. And the idea is that you would create a checklist for your users in order for them to have to go through the checklist before something is publishable. So let's say, for example, that you want them to create a Twitter post, you want them to upload an image, you want them to write at least 600 words, you want them to add the SEO meta tags and all of that business before it's published. Well, they have to go through this checklist, and this plugin makes it possible. Now, interestingly, somebody reached out to me today after listening to me talking about this on the audio version of this to say that, now who was it? I think it might be Brainstorm Force are in the process of releasing a similar product. So keep your eyes peeled about that. But that I think is nice. I will just mention these other two and then I'll open the floor up if you want to go back to them. Editor's Kit from Jeffrey Carandang has introduced into his plugin the estimated reading time. So if you've got a blog post, you can put that in. I've seen that cropping up all over the internet recently, and I actually find it quite useful at the top of an article to see estimated reading time 8 minutes. Well, I don't have 8 minutes. I'll come back to it. I think that's quite nice. So Editor's Kit has added that into the block editor. And finally, Breezy have the page builder have added a whole bunch of UI optimizations, including shape dividers. I'll just quickly scroll through the article. You've got normal and hover states. You've got text image masks, which I think is just great. If you actually look at this for a moment, I just love that. Look at that. The way that looks is just fabulous. You can do gradients within text. So you can, you can see it on my screen. Hopefully you can actually change the gradient within the text. And they've added text shadows as well. So if you're a Breezy user, this is a very nice update. So I'll quickly hand it over to you three if you want to talk about either Human Made or Editor's Kit or Breezy.
I would like to talk about the first thing, the Human Made plugin.
Yeah.
I knew about this from Brainstorm, so I thought it was the same thing until you mentioned that it's a different plugin. But I just saw Astra's kind of update around this earlier this week, and it looked amazing. I think it's such a small function and such a smart way of integrating this to help customers understand what is expected of them. And not only them, just like for us as we're doing blog posts and stuff, just to make sure that everything is in place. And bringing in workflows inside the admin dashboard, that's a really interesting approach.
Yeah.
So I really like it.
Yeah, it was built for their own internal tools. So they obviously, Human Made are a huge agency who deal with massive enterprise clients. And so they've built this onto their own stack so that when they hand it over to their clients, they can uniquely, bespokely make it. Bespokely, is that a word? Make it so that their clients are, having to jump through the hoops before they can publish content. They've open sourced this, but they have quite clearly said in the article, it's not, you can't just download it and use it. But maybe the Brainstorm Force version is more like that. And I confess I hadn't come across that until it was mentioned. Andre, David, anything to say about those three, or should we press on?
We can press on.
Okay.
Yeah, we can press on.
I'll do that. All right. Okay. Very quickly, we've got. I've only managed to scrape together one deal this week, and that was for Arindo Duque's plugins. I'd say plugins. They're themes. He's released a couple of themes. One's called Material WP. Let me put my screen on. Here we go. One's called Material WP, and the other one you'll see the similarity right away. Look, they look quite similar. And one's called Pro Theme, and these are some themes that he's put together. He's the creator of WP Ultimo and Admin Pages Pro. And the intention here really, with his whole messaging, he wants people to sell websites as a service, so have a multi-site network. And these themes are designed so that you can customize the WordPress UI, I guess, to make it look a bit unique, to make it look a bit classy, as he says here, make it look a bit different. And he's got them on offer. I can't remember exactly. Let me just go back to the article. Yeah, there we go. You've got 30% off lifetime price if you use this code. I should say that if you click on these links, they are affiliate links, but this is the code that you need to deploy should you want to do that. And all I can say about Arindo thus far is that everything that he's made, I've been very happy with. So although I haven't played with these exact themes, I'm sure that they'll be really good. But they're just beginning on their journey, so quite nice. Right, WebArcs security. Now this I think is nice. I don't know if Oliver Sild is listening to us. I hope he is. But this is great, and I think David maybe wanted to take this one on.
Yeah, WebArcs has kind of like, I think, become the Rolls-Royce of WordPress firewalls. They've got a really nice dashboard control, and for your settings are mirrored in your WordPress dashboard, but also on the external WebArcs dashboard. So things like make sure you don't lock yourself out and whatnot. And it's fairly new, it seems, but they've really been iterating on it a lot. So I guess a while ago they offered this service where for something like $3.49 a month, I think it's per site, you can have malware insurance, and they'll clean up your site for you. And apparently they've had that for a while, and no one's taken them up on it. So it's nice to let people know about it. An interesting thing related to their malware cleanup, it's manual. They'll have somebody go in and do it. But if your site is already hacked, you can sign up for WebArcs. They'll clean your site and include that in, they'll include a year of WebArcs in the price. So when you add that together with the cleanup price, it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
so it's interesting. These guys are really focused on WordPress security and website security.
Yeah, it does a lot of the heavy lifting. It's not using your own infrastructure. It sends the things to be done over to their infrastructure. I confess I don't know the ins and outs of it particularly, but this just came my way, and I can absolutely hand on heart promise you that I did not know this existed. So this isn't promotional, but it is worth promoting. There it is, $3.49. I don't know if that's per site. That would be my guess, but it is per month, and that just strikes me as such a reasonable amount of money to guarantee your website. And what their offer is that they will manually fix it. So this isn't $3.49. You'll have access to some API and click a button and hope for the best. This is them promising to do it with actual people. So I just thought that was a really, really very good deal indeed. And yeah, thanks, David. The only other couple that I've got are to do, I'm just going to mention the names of them so that if any of this triggers any warning signs, you can go and check it out. We've got zero-day vulnerability WordFence tells us in a plugin called Rich Reviews. I never used it, but go and check that out. Could be important. And again on WordFence, a bypass vulnerability in GiveWP. Now, I know that GiveWP has a very large user base. I think it's here. There's the number. 70,000 websites. I confess that I don't remember. I did read this, but I have actually forgotten in amongst all the other things I'm trying to remember what this was about. But go update GiveWP would be the salient point, I'm sure. We have this massively self-promotional bit, if it's all right with everybody. WP Builds self-promotional moment because, why not? The first one is we released a podcast episode, me and David Wormsley droning on about failure, which is very easy for both of us to do because, well, it's me and David. And we talk about what it actually means to fail. So go and listen to that. The other thing to mention is that I got on a call this week with Kyle Van Duzen from the Admin Bar, who's got this fabulous and very affordable little product called the Website Owner's Manual. And I'm like, everybody's going to kick themselves. Why didn't I think of this? This product is a thing that you download, and basically it's like a little booklet that you could hand over in PDF form or actually print it out. And it tells the client everything that they need to do in order to keep their website up and running. Now, the idea, I think, really is that, you know, the list is long enough that the client might start to scratch their chin and think, that sounds like rather a lot. Wouldn't it be good if somebody could help me out with that? And you then jump in and say, it's funny you should say that, because I have these things called care plans and I'll gladly give you one of my care plans. But it's really thoughtfully done. It gives you a whole load of email sequences, what to do if they refuse, what to do if they go away, and then, you know, you're trying to get them back in. Anyway, go and check it out. I think it's $15 if you use the code. What is the code? Can't remember. Something like WP Builds probably would be my guess. And that there was something else that I was going to mention, and it was a post that David Wormsley put out in the WP Builds Facebook group, and I was only going to say it because of how nice the WP Builds Facebook group is. Okay, I would like to start showing people jobs on WP Builds. If you need employment, or if you would like to offer a job, I haven't got any, and I'm not going to go around stealing other people's job listings from other people's sites. But if you are an employer, or if you would like to find some work, just get in touch with me. Let's see if we can hook people up in some way. I think that'd be nice. It's now 3:05, ladies and gentlemen. So we've used our hour up. I've got some other stuff, but I'm conscious that we've had our hour, so I don't know if any of you want to stay on the line with me and talk about this other stuff for a little bit, or if you want to hop off. I'm entirely happy.
I'm good to stay on too.
Okay. All right, let's carry on.
I think I'm actually gonna...
I know, your battery, Vito. That's cool.
Somehow it lasted. I'm at like 23% now.
Yeah.
But also my family came back from this from the boat.
Yeah, we saw
ride,
you. We saw you manhandling a child earlier. So yeah, of course, Vito. Of course, you go and we'll see you soon. We'll see. Thank you very much, Vito. I appreciate it. I'll carry on talking to David and Andre for a moment. And thank you for for your contributions. Nice one.
Take care.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks, Vito.
Bye, guys.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's press on. Just a few little things. I don't know what to make of this article. I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but it is just to say that Richard Stallman has stepped down. Richard Stallman is kind of like one of the founders of the whole free software idea. And basically it all revolves around his opinions, which have got nothing to do with free software, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. I don't want to get into that. I don't suppose you guys want to get into that particularly either.
One thing about that's interesting is, a lot of famous people who've done good things have also done bad things.
Yeah.
Or, kind of go off. And that's a challenge to separate, their accomplishments or their contributions from their humanness and their mistakes.
Yeah, it is difficult. And obviously, I think this just touches on an area where you're not allowed to make mistakes, really, are you? If it was like minor shoplifting or something, it could be probably just brushed under the carpet. But in this case, it seems to be something a little bit more severe. Anyway, there you go. His role appears to have ended. We probably won't be hearing too much from him, even though his contribution over the years was great. Now, if you like the film, what is the film called? Ready Player One. That's it, Ready Player One. Facebook, I don't know whether to be terrified of this or whether to think this is brilliant.
I'm terrified.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, that's where I was kind of heading. Good. Facebook have decided they're going to launch basically that idea, like this oasis, but they're calling it Horizon. It's an online world, and it's a sandbox thing at the minute. It's supposed to be launching in 2020 to closed beta. Now, but listen to the scope of this, all right? Launching in early 2020, Facebook Horizon will allow users to design their own diverse avatars, hop between virtual locales through portals called telepods, watch movies, consume media with friends, and play games together. It will also include human guides, I don't know how that's going to work, known as Horizon Locals, who can give users assistance. Now, I just don't know what to make of this stuff. I mean,
It's what's scary is like this is what it's like now, but what's it going to be like in like 10 years?
Yeah.
Is it going to be even further removed from reality?
I
don't know.
I watched Ready Player One with my children, one of whom is, he's the right age to watch it, but not much older, shall we say. And the beginning of it is very dystopian, and what you see is they don't let you into the universe. What they show you is the societal impact. So they show you lots of people, and they're clearly making it out to be a bad thing because they're living in what look like terrible accommodation with, and they're kind of shouting at their children whilst they've got the goggles on and that kind of thing. And it's just one person after another, and you just get this idea that, that they don't want to be in the real world. They just want to live inside this cocoon. And I think the temptation is all too great already just with the phone. If you put this stuff on people's heads, and it's as fabulous as it seems, play with your mates, go and watch movies, I don't know. David, any thoughts?
Can't you do all that stuff already?
Yeah, precisely. Why don't you just go to the movies with your friends?
It reminds me of, there was like some Onion news article where it was called like the World of Warcraft.
Okay.
And so you played a character sitting in his basement playing the World of Warcraft.
Oh.
So it's like you could be like even further removed from reality than just playing the game.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that. Because you could do all this stuff in real life. You can go watch a movie.
Clearly I can understand the significance of it. It would be an amazing technological achievement. I'm just not convinced necessarily of the benefits to us in the long run.
It's something that's probably going to come anyway.
Yeah.
That's the direction we're headed. And as with, you mentioned World of Warcraft, it's like people thought that was the end of the world, and people think cell phones are the end of the world, and we'll have implants someday, so we won't need a cell phone. And whatever, so but obviously, the balance, the Greeks had it right. You need a balance in life. And so as long as you have the balance, it's okay. It's when you get out of balance.
Yeah, good point. You see, that's what you bring to us, David. Some balance. You're very good at that.
Maybe it's just scary because Facebook is doing it. I think that's a big part of it for me too.
Yeah, you know what? That was actually my intention, was to talk about it in that sense. My personal opinion is that would be not as good as some other business, shall we say. I'm sure there are other people who could build this equally, who have a not quite so tarnished track record. The idea of giving Facebook all of this data about really probably quite intimate stuff, what you really, really like and where you really like to go, and all of that is novel. Anyway, there you go. Now, speaking of dystopian futures, this is so good. I don't know what the position is with showing YouTube videos on a live stream, so I'm not going to do it because I might get told off. But just go watch this video. This is a robot produced by Boston Dynamics. This robot can genuinely do acrobatics. Like, it can do front flips, it can do handstands, it can turn around on the spot and So, combine this with the clarion call a moment ago to be fearful of the future, and we'll all be with our VR goggles trying to escape from the world, whilst around us the robots are taking over. It's going to be interesting. I just thought that was worth pulling out. Go and check it out. This is the opposite. This is not dystopian. This, I think, is really nice. So Spotify et al. Have kind of cornered the market in music, making it, I believe, if you're a music artist, trying to break through now is harder than ever. Then come on to the scene Audius, I presume you pronounce it, audius.co. And this is like a streaming music service for people who haven't been signed. There's nothing much more to say about it, except that if you like listening to independent music that's not being pushed by major labels, this might be something to check out. I don't know what the pricing is, if indeed there is any pricing. It does say sign up for free, but beyond that I don't know. But if you know of somebody who is in a band, that might be a nice way for them to go. And then finally, the very last one. This is so nice. So I thought we'd end on a positive. Thought it'd be nice to end on a positive. This is cool. It's a Twitter from Brent Bellamy. and apparently in Sweden they're going to be fining people on their roads, just like they do everywhere else. If they speed, the machine detects you and you get a fine. But what they're going to do is they're going to raffle that away. They're going to give the fine money away to people who drive under the speed limit. So if you're a careful driver, you get put into the lottery to win some cash. And I just thought, why did nobody think of that? Why not make it pay to be a good driver? How cool is that?
Is it powered by a raffle press?
Yeah, probably. It's a great idea, though. What just occurred to me, though, is this could go horribly wrong, in that everybody immediately starts to behave really well, hoping to win some cash. When, of course, then the pot of cash available is zero, and everybody realises that this wasn't worth it. I'm going to drive like a lunatic again. So there you go. That's it. That's all we've got.
Oh, I was going to say, I can't remember which country it was. Something in the news recently where instead of giving tickets, they give drivers timeouts. Like you can avoid the ticket, you just have to go off the road for like 10 minutes or something like that.
Oh,
I thought that was interesting too, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting idea. In the UK, you basically get an £80 fine, so it's like $110 or something. And then we have a point system on the license, and I believe it's 12 points. If you reach 12 points, your license is stripped for a number of years. You can't drive, period. And you accumulate these points, so you can have various misdemeanors. But then what you can do is you can offer to go on a one-day course where they teach you, like basically reteach you the benefits of driving safely, and then you avoid getting the points. And anyway, we've turned out to talk about cars and pedestrians and things like that. That is not the point. We're here to talk about WordPress. And so, yeah, sorry, I've kept you, all of you, for far too long. Just a little shout out. A couple of things that have come up in the chat. Number one, Kyle Van Duzen, who's got his website owner's manual. It's 20%. Thank you, Kyle. He's clarified that. And Chris said it looks really awesome. Peacher says there's no way she's going to get involved in that stuff with Facebook. Yeah, I would imagine I'm on your side, Peacher. And Chris also says that it is in fact Brainstorm Force that have just released this plugin last week. So great, thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you, of course, to David McCan, to Andre, and to Vito, who's had to leave us. But before we leave, David, if there's anything you want to say, feel free. Twitter handle, email, anything. Go for it.
Well, I've been I've got two websites, webpng.com, where I do some tutorials, and then Elementor360.com, where I've just been using the Unlimited Elements widget builder. You can build widgets for Elementor using their tool. So I've been building widgets for Elementor, and that's a blast.
Nice.
It really is fun.
Yeah. Oh, good. Do you is that a paid for plugin, or is that part of their pro package?
It's part of their pro package.
Okay. Oh, nice. Well, thank you for telling us that. Do you? I know that you do put tutorials together. You're intending to put that one together once you've had a good old play.
I did a first one. Yeah, it's kind of an advanced one. I realized I should go back and do a simple one.
Okay.
Yeah, I took your advice and used advanced custom fields and CPT UI on a site, and I didn't have the conditional logic and everything tool set, so I used this to create a widget to accomplish that.
Okay. Oh, nice. Well, thank you. So yeah, web PNG if you want to catch up with David's stuff. That's
PNG, yeah.
PNG, web PNG, and of course apologies. Yeah, I apologise. I'm thinking of images, PNG, of course.
Yeah.
And David, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Andre, what would you like to tell us?
Well, we have a major update coming out this week in Project Huddle. We're going to be adding a couple new features that I'm really excited about. The first one is a unified tasks dashboard that sort of like we like to build like a God mode, so you can manage all your projects from like a single interface and never have to leave and kind of like filter and sort and, look at stuff by client, look at stuff by project, that kind of thing. It's been in beta for a week. It's going to be releasing this week.
Nice.
The other cool feature is mentions. So you can now mention people in a conversation without needing to assign or subscribe them to an entire.
Like an mention, username sort of thing.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, so you can go and find Andre's website, projecthuddle.io, I believe.
.io. Yep.
Yeah, projecthuddle.io, and you can go and pick yourself up a copy of that and help your clients to communicate with you more easily. Thank you so much for both coming on. Peacher says it does look a bit like. Now, what is it she said exactly? She said. Well, basically, she said it does look a bit like a boys' club, but we're, I think she's forgiving us because we're quite nice, so that's good. Peacher herself will be coming on, so that's going to be nice when she finally does. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to push the button and say thanks very much indeed for joining us.